Okay, good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here at Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi here in Yerushalyim HaLodesh. We are getting ready for Pesach, a few weeks away, learning about the Hagaddah Shel Pesach. We are in our third paragraph. Amr Belezer ben Azariah, Hani, Ani, Keben, Shibim Shad.
I think actually we got to the next one.
Oh, yeah? And
Yeah, I think we finished the discussion of
the Talmidim, we discussed the first
the whole discussion about the Shema and everything.
Yeah, but this is something that this is Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah. The second paragraph was Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah, also Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Tarfon. But now Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah takes the stage, so to speak, and he says something independent.
Oh, I see.
Yep, have that there. Let's take a look. Go ahead. Roy, like to read for us? It's good practice.
He's a contemporary of mine.
Who's a contemporary?
Rabbi Ben Azariah.
Elazar. He's a contemporary because he's 70.
Yeah.
Oh.
You got to understand how Roy thinks.
He does?
I said, yeah.
All right. I'm a Rabbi Elazar.
There's a difference between with the yud there, so the Eliezer or Elazar.
So that'd be the modern Lazar.
Possibly, yeah, very possibly.
Hooray, Ani, Kaven, Shivaim, Shana, Halal, Zakisi, Shitano, Yitzias, Mitzrayim, Balaylos, Ad, Shidorosho, Ben Zoma. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah said, hello, I am about 70 years of age, and I did not understand why the narrative of Exodus from Egypt should be related at night until Ben Tsama explained it. Ben Tsama explained it like this.
Go ahead.
Ima'an Tizkor Es Yom Tzasecho May Eretz Mitzrayim Kol Yemei Hayecha Yemei Hayecha Hayamim Kol Yemei Hayecha Halayla. He explained it like this. The Bible says that you should recall the days of your departure from the land of Egypt, all the days of your life. Had it said the days of your life, it would refer to only the days thereof. It says all the days, so it means the night as well.
You follow?
Right. V'ha'chavamim, Amarim, sages say, Yemei hayecha ha'olam hazeh, the days of your life refers to this life alone, here on earth. Kol Yemei Hayecha Lahavir Lanos Mashiach. All the days of our life means to include even the days of the Mashiach.
Now,
Just a technical question.
sure.
And it says, Hachachamim. You talked about Chazal. Chazal was the Tanaim and the Amorim.
Correct.
What does Chachamim refer to?
when you have a discussion between the Tanoim and Amorim, so if it's a individual or a group of individuals, then the Gemara or Medrash will mention them by name. So in this case, Amar Rabbi Elazar and Azariah. He said the following: the Chachamim, meaning the majority of the other sages in the base Medrash at the time, they said this other thing in contrast. So Chachamim is reference to the majority of those that are saying not necessarily arguing, but they're saying something else. Something that may be an argument, sometimes it's simply another view on the same subject, but not necessarily to argue on the previous view. Sometimes it is a dispute, sometimes it's not a dispute.
I see. Thank you.
Sure. Well, so what do we see here? We see that Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah said, Hari ani keben shivim shana, right? Lo zechisis, even though he was like a person who's 70 years old, he never was privileged. Shita Omer Yitzis Mitzrayim B'Laylos. It was not zechisi Shita Omer, right? Yitzis Mitzrayim. So we have to understand, what does this mean? Lo zechisi Shita Omer Yitzis Mitzrayim B'Laylos. What does that mean? He wasn't zoich. He wasn't privileged. What's this? What this is a lack that he had here. He had a lack of being privileged. What was the lack of? What was the privilege that he was lacking?
Maybe it's the way he was thinking about it. All those years, he couldn't get it. He sort of got himself stuck in the train of thought. Or maybe it wasn't given to him to work it out.
I'll tell you, Russian almost all of the explanations that I see here, it means there was a dispute here. I mean, there was a dispute going on. Again, Amar Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Hari ani keben shivim shana, lo zechisi sheta Omer Yitzis Mitzrayim B'Laylos, that he had a certain understanding of what this verse means. The verse of Yitzis Mitzrayim, the Shenemar Yitzis Mitzrayim B'Laylos. He was never able to win out over the opinion of the majority of the Chachamim until Darsha Ben Zomer. Until Ben Zomer came and made the following elaboration and comment on this pasuk.
To win out, meaning he held that you did it at night.
Yeah,
they held the day only.
Okay, so that's another question. The question is, in general, what's the actual argument here? I mean, they're arguing about apparently a verse, a pasuk, and then what's the ramification and what's the relevance of it to us lamaisa in action? What's that going to change anything in action that we do? So let's try and repeat the whole paragraph again. I'd like to reread it and let's take a look at a whole new picture on this paragraph.
Amar Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah said, Hare ani keben shivim shana, behold, I am like a person of 70 years old. Below zachisi shete amar yatzias mitzrayim b'layla, and I didn't merit to say over the exodus from Egypt at night. Ad shedar darasha ben Zoma, until it was explained to me by Ben Zoma. Shnei Amar, as he said, Leman tizkuru es yom tzescha me'eretz Mitzrayim, in order to remember the day of the going out of Egypt, kol yemei chayecha, all the days of your life. Yemei chayecha, if it just said the days of your life, hayomim, it would be referring to the days. Kol Yemei Chayecha, all the days of your life, HaLodesh refers to the nights. V'chachamim Omrim, and the sages say, Yemei Chayecha, the days of your life, Halam Hazeh, refers to this world. Kol Yemei Chayecha, all the days of your life, Lahavi comes Limos, the days HaMashiach, of the coming of the days of the Mashiach.
Okay, so let's think about this for a moment. Ben Zoma said he was like someone who's 70 years old, and he never was able to convince, to win out over the Chachamim, what he learned from this pasuk Yetzias Mitzrayim B'Laylos, that it should be said Yetzias Mitzrayim. You know that there is a mitzvah of Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim. Okay, there's a special, specific mitzvah of Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim, right? And it's included in general in the after you finish your Kriya Shema, there's a specific point where you should look at, you try and have specific kavanah here. If you take a look in the siddur here, we have to keep our hands on where we're at and jump over to.
Any Shema mitzvah?
Well, take a look at chakras. Oh well. We'll get to Myra. We'll get to Myra. Yeah, but well, I want you to see both chakras and Myra. You have a siddur there. Just remember which page you're on, right? If you remember that you're on page 5, you have 585. If you're on page 585, so I'd like to refer you to, at least in this siddur, you can use any siddur you like, before the beginning of the Shmona Esrei, right, of chakras, meaning basically tomorrow's davening, you say as follows.
The beginning of school.
There's a paragraph just before the beginning of our Shmona Esrei, beginning with Ezras Avosenu Atahu Me Oilam.
Got it.
And so you go further up, and 54 in this edition, if it's the same.
Shacharis.
54, right at the bottom of 54, here, you have here,
This is the start.
Ezra Vosenu, Lan Melech, Koel Moshe, you have Mitzrayim, you have the Mitzrayim Gal Tanu, Hashem Elokeinu, the base of Lim Padisanu, Kol Buch Rechem Haragta. So from Mitzrayim, from Egypt, you redeemed us, Hashem Elokeinu, our God. And from the house of our servitude, Padisanu, you redeemed us. Kol Buch Rechem Haragta, all their firstborn you killed, right? And the firstborn of your people, right, you redeemed. Yamsu Pekata, and the Yamsu you split. Vizedim Tibata, and those who were rebellious, but they were sunk into the Yamsu. That goes into that. So when you say that, those words, Mitzrayim Galtanu, one of the things we're supposed to be having in mind at that point, that Tzurg Lahaski Be'emes V'Yatzi V'Yitzias Mitzrayim, right? You have to mention, right, Yitzias Mitzrayim. That's Hazkaras, right? That is Hazkaras of Yitzias Mitzrayim, which is a mitzvah, right, of Hazkaras. Now, besides that, also when you come to the point in Kriya Shema, right, previously to that, you also had an opportunity to fulfill this mitzvah. In the second parak of Kriya Shema, one minute. Yeah, right, at the very end of the third paragraph, very end of the third parak of Kriya Shema, you have the statement, right, Asher Otzeisi Yiskem Meretz Mitzrayim. That is Haskaras, the mentioning of the Exodus from Egypt. You have a special mitzvah saseh to mention the Exodus from Egypt. So that's during the daytime, right? So Rabbi Elazar, right, that we're learning about now, he never could convince the Chachamim, the majority opinion. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah could never convince the majority of the opinion that you also had a mitzvah to mention it at night, right? So now if you go to the evening
so this word Shetei Amar,
yeah,
that means to convince?
that it should be said, Beleilos, right? Shetei Amar, it should be said, that you should say, right? It was never privileged that it should be said. He was never privileged to convince the Chachamim, the majority of the rule, right? It was able to convince them, right, that you should say this mentioning of the Exodus from Egypt, not only during the day, but also at night. He could never convince them until the drasha of Ben Zoma came along.
So we're pivoting on this word Zechisi.
Right, lo Zechisi, right?
I was not meritorious.
Right.
That you say that you tell the Exodus from Egypt at night.
Right.
I was not meritorious, so the unwritten word is to convince.
Right.
Okay.
Take a look at the evening prayers, okay? Because that's what we want to focus on now. We want to focus on by the Kriya Shema. You have the evening meals by the Kriya Shema.
I've got it here.
Yeah. Just open the window. A little fresh air.
And we're sitting there saying evening. Okay.
Okay. Morning.
Good morning.
Take a look again, we say the third paragraph of the Shema, which has that exact expression again, right? That's obviously that we're having in mind Yetzias Mitzrayim at that point, right? And furthermore, you have the statement in the Emes Ve'emunah, the paragraph following the third paragraph of the paragraph Emes Ve'emunah, right, called Zos, so Kayam Aleinu, right? So we have there sort of in the middle of that paragraph, you have the expression, right? V'yotzi es amo Yisrael mitochem lecheres olam, right? Right?
It's es amo Yisrael tocham lecheres olam.
There's also a reference to the Exodus from Egypt, right? They would say as
The one before that is Mitzrayim.
Yeah. So it's also a point. So that was what Elazar ben Azariah had tried, apparently unsuccessfully, to convince the majority of the opinion that was a mitzvah to be mentioned at night as well.
It's interesting also that right before the Shema, we have this phrase, Nihiyeh Yomam V'Layla. Right, we're talking about what we're going to say next, which is the Shema.
Right.
It says you will meditate on them day and night.
Very good, yeah. Yeah, that's words of Torah in general, right?
Oh, it's not specifically the Shema?
Well, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, that's how we minimally fulfill it by saying Shema in the morning and in the evening. Minimally, for those who maybe don't have the opportunity or the understanding to learn more than their basic obligation. Pesach regulations is Shema, morning and evening.
Right. Right.
So that's how basically it's explained here.
Okay.
So Rabbi Ben Azariah was saying that until the explanation of Ben Zoma, he wasn't able to convince to be victorious over the Chachamim that there's a mitzvah as well to say Yetzias Mitzrayim, to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim, to remember Yetzias Mitzrayim, the Exodus from Egypt, also in the night prayers as well.
So Ben Azariah was senior to Rabbi Elazar.
Yeah, Rabbi Elazar Ben Azariah, yeah.
He was senior to
Say, who was saying to who?
the Ben Zoma was.
Well, Ben Zoma, I'm not sure if he mentioned it specifically, but Ben Zoma had this drasha, right? He said, as it says, right? Ad shedidora shah Ben Zoma shenemar laman tizkor es yom seischa me'eretz Yisrael kol yimei chayecha. Chayecha, that's referring to the days, right? That you make mention of Yetzias Mitzrayim in the daytime, and kol yimei chayecha, all the days of your life. That's including the Laila, the nights as well. Okay.
Where is this phrase "Kol Yimei Chayecha" coming from?
It's based on the pasuk. The pasuk says, right. Laman tizkor es yom seischa me'eretz Yisrael kol yimei chayecha. That's a verse from the Torah. So it's a question of how you explain these words, right? What's the purpose of the words telling you kol yimei chayecha? So the Rashi is yimei chayecha. That quote, yimei chayecha, unquote, means yomi, the days.
Right.
Kol yimei chayecha, the call in quote, call, unquote, that's referring to lilos, the nights. So that's a proof from the Torah, a remes from the Torah, that you have to say it both once in the morning and once at night. So now we have a satisfaction of the desire of Rabbi Elazar ben Zoma, desire to have the mitzvah of Zecher L'Tzias Mitzrayim, not just during the day, but also during the night as well, has been fulfilled through the explanation of Ben Zoma.
Until then, Shema wasn't said.
Shema was said, but the mitzvah of Zecher L'Tzias Mitzrayim was not. They weren't the Chachamim. The majority of the sages weren't convinced that was a mitzvah to fulfill. Min Torah. The fact that it's now, that's the whole point. You're basing it on a pasuk, on a verse from the Torah, so that gives it the authority of a mitzvah d'oraisa.
So we say that the Chachamim were arguing on Ben Zoma when they said that it's this world and the world to come?
Yeah, they understood the words of the Torah to be teaching us something else.
But now Rabbi Elazar was able to convince them.
Apparently, according to what the explanations here. It explains here. Lozikis, you should tell me Yetzias B'mayas. Shahayisi Sabr Ein Mitzvah Ela B'yom. I used to think that it was only a mitzvah only during the day. Ad Shamati Drashas Ben Zoma. Until I heard the explanation, right? An explanation of Ben Zoyma. Ma'az ve'elek nitkin la'omer haskir ahaski yitzis Mitzrayim b'yom v'layla, and at night as well. Yom be'emes v'yatzi, we say that we saw it said in Yom Be'zel ve'erev be'emes v'amuna.
So now we're saying differently. We're saying it wasn't the Chachamim he was trying to convince, it was himself.
Yeah, well, that there are different explanations. Some are explaining the dispute between Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and the Chachamim, and some are just saying that Rabbi Elazar himself, wasn't even convinced. Right? And it says, this is your question. Being Tomer V'Ki Rabbi Elazar lo hayim mispalel kodim lekeim tfilas ma'ariv. He didn't pray tfilas ma'ariv before this.
Oh yeah, right. That's your question.
Right? Didn't he? Yeah. When Laskir bo Yitzis was, and it was mentioned in the Yitzis was right. Yesh lo mimadaliba. You could say that in fact he skipped it. He could have skipped that. If you look at Kriyas Mahayim Medalei Parshas Tzitzis, because the whole question of the third paragraph of Kriyas at night is in question. There were some that could in fact have skipped at nighttime the whole third paragraph.
Because the tzitzis.
Right, the majority of the paragraph of the third paragraph is for the sake of the tzitzis, which is not relevant to them in the nighttime. Right?
So in the Shema, it's just the first phrase, is it?
Well, there's a dispute as to what the whole mitzvah of Kriyas Shema is. Is it just the first verse, the first paragraph, all three paragraphs? That's a dispute.
Is anybody that says just the two paragraphs, not the third?
Well, that would be like in this case at night. At
Right.
night, there would be no need to mention anything about tzitzis, no need to mention anything about Yitzis Mitzrayim, so why mention it?
So it could be that somebody who doesn't say the third paragraph at night doesn't say it in the day either.
No,
so
in the
you'd
day.
say the mitzvah of Kriyas Shema is the two paragraphs, not the third.
Well, in the daytime, it's been established that we say the three paragraphs. Earlier on, we're talking about a time when there was perhaps no set standard format of tefillah that we have today. Now we have a set standard format of tefillah, so that's our obligation.
So this is before the Anshe Knesset?
Actually not, but some things maybe had not been completely decided even into the time of the Tanoi and Amorim. Especially if you see that there was a question, that there was obviously a dispute as to whether or not you should say. I mean, what did the Chachamim? We don't have any picture yet of what the Chachamim were. What is their opinion about all this?
Oh well, didn't we just read that they hold it's this world and the world to come?
Yeah. So what do they do with the mitzvah of mentioning Yitzias Mitzrayim?
They say it's only the day.
I'm not even sure if they have according to this pasuk, I don't even know if they have a limit to where do they know that it's a mitzvah during the day according to this? I'm not even sure they have a.
Well, actually, you could hold, since they say all the days refers to this world. You could say that refers to days and night in this world, or just days in this world. You could say either.
Oh, so
Doesn't prove anything.
so. See, according to the Chachamim, there's one way of approaching the Chachamim that they could in fact be be learning that there is a mitzvah both in the day and in the night, right?
Right.
But when it comes to what Ben Zoma was explaining, they learned that the words that Ben Zoma is learning about, teaching us about the days and about the nights, about saying Krishma, that teaches something completely different.
Right.
They're talking about whether or not in the time of Yemos Mashiach, after the final redemption, will we be still mentioning Yetzias Mitzrayim or not?
Right.
One possible way of understanding the coming is they are of the opinion you must say Yetzias Mitzrayim in the day and at night. That's a given.
Right.
Ben Zoma wasn't convinced that you have to say it at night until he heard the drasha of Ben Zoma. The Chachamim differ with the understanding, Ben Zoma's understanding of the pasuk, because they learn out that Kol Yemei Chayecha, right? Kol Yemei Chayecha, right? That's Olam Hazeh. So okay, we understand in Olam Hazeh. In this world as it is now, you have to say both during the day and at night. You have to mention Mitzrayim. You have to mention the Exodus from Mitzrayim, both in the day and the night. But that's only that's only up till right Yemos Mashiach. How do you know that you have to do it also in the time of Yemos Mashiach, right? Yemei Chayecha. So Yemei Chayecha is going to be for this world, before Mashiach's time. Kol Yemei Chayecha is to teach you to include also the times of Mashiach as well. Now, what does Ben Zoma say, and what does Rebbe Elazar Ben Azariah say about reading Kriya Shema with Yetzias Mitzrayim in the time of Mashiach? So I'm not so sure. I don't know.
Right. Since they're not learning that way, they might say, we don't read it anymore.
Right. Because you see, this paragraph of the Hagaddah is really a Gemara Brachos. It's word for word. I think it's exactly word for word, but I can't tell you definitively that it's exactly, because I'd have to look at the Gemara to refresh my memory about that. Yeah.
Technically, we finished, because this is Thursday.
Oh, yes.
Technically,
Oh, so it's time to start the
finished in this.
Nobody's here, so let's go.
What do you mean, nobody? Oh, yeah,
You finished that.
We're all
You
somebody.
nowhere, man.
Yeah.
Can't find it.
Not in this Hagaddah in here, perhaps. Right. So it's not. We didn't do an exhaustive treatment of the subject, but that's basically a little bit of what's going on between Rebbe Elazar Ben Azariah and the Chachamim here. Okay. Let's now go to the next paragraph. Go ahead.
Baruch HaMakom, blessed is the omnipresent. Baruch Hu, blessed is he. Baruch Shenasan Torah L'Mo Yisrael, blessed is the one that gave Torah to the Jewish people. Baruch Hu, blessed is he. Keneged, corresponding to Arba'ah Vanim, 4 sons, Dibra, Torah speaks the Torah. The Torah speaks about 4 sons. Echad Chacham, one is the wise one. Echad Rasha, one is the wicked one. Ve'echad Tam, one is the simple one. Ve'echad She'eno Yodea Lishol, and one is the one that does not know how to ask.
Very good. Okay. So now, the first part of this paragraph, Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu, blessed is Kadosh Baruch Hu, and blessed is He. Baruch Shenasan Torah L'Mo Yisrael. Baruch is Hashem that he gave Torah to Klal Yisrael. Let's see. This is very significant because I'll tell you, there's a question to be asked here. What does this have to do with the Hagaddah? Right? And so it's supposed to be talking about the Exodus from Egypt, right? So what does this first sentence or two have to do with the Exodus from Egypt?
Because the whole purpose of the Exodus of Egypt was to give us the Torah.
Correct. Very good. Very good. As true as that is, nevertheless, that you have to add that in. I mean, that's not that the connection between the redemption from Egypt and receiving the acceptance of the Torah is something which we happen to know, right? But for someone who really doesn't know anything about that, it's sort of like in between the lines, right?
Right.
Some of the commentaries explain that this is somewhat like Birchas Torah. I mean, there's a halacha that a person before he learns has to make a bracha on the Torah, right? And so much so that it could be actually forbidden, just like you can't eat food before or drink anything before you make a bracha on the food or drink. That you're actually to many opinions, it's forbidden to learn any Torah to actually make Birchas Torah, right? So since the Hagaddah is going to include many verses from the Torah and many sections from the Gemara and the Medrash, we want to institute a Birchas Torah at the very beginning of the Hagaddah for those people who perhaps never made Birchas Torah. They mean, the power of the first night of Pesach is such that many people, as far away as they may be from Torah and mitzvahs, Yiddishkeit, Judaism, nevertheless, when it comes to the night of Pesach, they somehow are drawn to join in, right? This I'm sure we can all give testimony through personal experience, that somehow people just are drawn to the
Actually wrote one.
yeah. Hear that, Roy?
When I was first getting started,
Yeah.
first getting interested,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't really believe in most of the aspects of Orthodox Judaism.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, it's a nice idea. Let's tell a story. Let's get together and tell a story. So I wrote the story.
Okay. Okay.
And then the next year we did it. We added a little bit more. I added a little bit more, and then I got criticized.
Oh, really? Wow.
I said I was being very pedantic. Like the rabbis. You're acting like a rabbi. And I realized something.
Yeah.
I realized that as I tried to embellish and add on to the Hagaddah that I had written, it was becoming more and more like the real Hagaddah.
Oh, wow, look at that.
So I was kind of like reinventing the wheel, and it gave me a deeper respect for the authors of the Hagaddah.
Oh, very nice.
No, I don't even know if I have it anymore.
Oh, really?
It was like 35 years ago or something like that. 30 years ago. 35 years ago, yeah. I probably have it somewhere. I never throw anything out. Probably have it somewhere. But no, I don't use it. I haven't even looked at it more than 30 years. But it's just like you said. I have no idea why, because I wasn't at all religious. At least in the sense of Orthodox Judaism, I wasn't religious.
Sure.
I believed in God, but I don't know why.
Sure.
For some reason, I had this desire.
Yeah.
And Pesach was the only holiday that, I mean, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur came when I didn't even know they happened. Many years. But Pesach somehow had that connection.
The power, there's a certain power of Pesach. Look, it's our spiritual birthday, so to speak. You know, it's when we were born. And we became changed. We became something in this world which was different, even though we were different from the right that we're the offspring of Abraham Avinu, Yitzchak Avinu, Yaakov Avinu, but nevertheless, the time when we became a nation was when we became redeemed from Egypt. It was very significant. Yeah? Very significant. So therefore, actually, it's like somewhat like according to the Reuven saying, he says, because Surah L'Drosh Arba Psukim, Chalukim being Yineim, since you have to now, we'll be getting to the 4 different verses, which will be different, speaking about different topics. Nemru, the Torah, the Oisik Arba, and therefore the Torah began to start talking about the 4 different sons. Right? The Kach Mati Livorik es Hashem. Therefore we begin to give blessings to Hashem, Shenosan Lano Torah Shlem, that gave us the complete Torah. Right? That is somewhat like Birkas Torah. That the way I like to understand it is, since there may be people who would never even think to say Birkas Torah, never think to learn Torah, but here they, through thick and thin, they're showing up at the night on the Pesach table. How they got there, whatever, only Hashem knows sometimes. But so they're participating. So they're giving praises to Hashem that they are in fact learning Torah. There's no other time in the whole year when everyone, as many, that's not everyone, but unfortunately not everybody, it would only be everybody, as many people as possible, such a majority of people from all walks of Judaism and Jewish lineage, that they're speaking over the words of Torah Shabbat Peh. They're learning Gemara, they're learning Medrash, and that itself has a tremendous power to change a person. We can't really estimate the true power of even one word of Torah. It's for the soul, for the neshama, it's more important than a drop of blood for the bloodstream. It doesn't look at the neshama. It's like the neshama. If you think it's far, for those people who are far from Torah Judaism, so they're living in a desert of lack of Torah. And so these words, every one of these words is like the drops of water. They never experienced in their life before. So that's what's going on here. Yeah, okay, guess what? This time we'll maybe continue this next week, depending on Rabbi Levitt.
This is very good.